shows, but the situation is more complicated than just getting insulin. The most basic information on living with diabetes regarding things like diet is largely non-existent in Sierra Leone. The majority of people here live in poverty. Life is difficult. Families often have to make difficult choices. Anne-Marie Koroma has known many patients who receive treatments in the clinic, but struggle to cope with the complex challenges of living with diabetes. She has seen many of her patients die.
For type 1, the registered deaths are 16. For type 2, the registered deaths are 51. Those are the ones that I know about.
Considering how few patients the clinic can treat, those are staggering numbers. With access to insulin and early proper treatment, they would likely have survived.
What more inspires me is that I see people and they really suffer.
A few weeks later, Hawa is already feeling better.
Since I started going to the clinic and they showed me how to use the medicine, my body feels stronger. Before I couldn't joke around with my friends because I didn't really feel okay. I'm feeling better now and I can joke too. No one teases me.
It's likely there are many other diabetics here who, unlike Hawa, never even know the cause of their suffering. But in terms of testing at least, things do seem to be changing. 2 private organizations began testing in February 2022. Of the approximately 10,000 people who requested screening, just over 4,000 had diabetes. But there is still an enormous unmet need. Anne-Marie Koroma's clinic is just a drop in the ocean, especially because of the enormous rise in diabetes in low and middle-income countries. The diabetes crisis in Sierra Leone seems to be growing ever more severe, and the country doesn't have the resources ready to handle it.
Europe is home to around 12 million Sinti and Roma. Most of them live in the east and southeast of the continent. Prejudice and discrimination against them are rife, leaving the majority in a vicious cycle of poverty.
There's just minutes to go. Bayram has trained for this fight for a long time. He'll be competing in the oil wrestling arena. Turkey's best fighters have come together to compete in Edirne, Bayram's home city. The 15-year-old is part of Turkey's Roma community. He's fighting prejudices too.
I feel really strong. I'll be starting in a few minutes. Obviously, I'm nervous. Now it's also started raining. This is the famous Kirkpinar tournament. That means anything can happen.
Before the fight starts, the wrestlers are doused in olive oil, which makes it difficult for them to grab hold of each other. Bayram won the title here 2 years ago. He's hoping to do it again. The fight gets underway. To win, he has to get his opponent's back to touch the ground. For a while, neither of them succeeds in getting the upper hand. But then everything happens very fast. Bayram has won. He's through to the next round. He heads outside the arena to take a break.
That was a tough opponent just now. During the fight, you experience so many emotions that are hard to describe. You have to experience it.
Bayram's younger brother is also competing today. The 13-year-old is hoping to repeat his brother's success. Bayram has made it into a sponsorship program. If Aydıncan wins this tournament, he could follow suit.
I'm nervous, but I've come here to win and I trained a lot.
Aydıncan has already won 3 fights in the competition. Now he's in the semi-finals. And once again, he's successful. It took him just minutes to win. In the evening, we visit the brothers at home. Only Roma live in this neighbourhood. Their mother, Sevgino, is preparing dinner. She's incredibly proud of her son's success, even if things aren't always easy.
It's a sport that requires money for their food and equipment. We're renting this place and my husband only gets the minimum wage.
Bayram and Aydıncan hope their sporting success will help improve their fortunes. Youth unemployment among Roma stands at 65%. That's more than 3 times the Turkish average. One problem is that young people often lack role models.
There are hardly any opportunities for Roma. If you don't make it at school, you become a musician. If that doesn't work out, you end up collecting garbage. Many turn to drugs. But we train twice a week and our coach is trying to support us as best he can. My greatest dream is becoming an Olympic champion in wrestling. I don't want anything else, because if I did that, I'd have the world at my feet.
But first, they have to win the tournament tomorrow. Both are confident. The next day, the real heavyweights take part, the so-called Bash Pehlivans. Not many of the fighters make it this far. Some doubt that a Roma could ever make it, assuming they'd start drinking or fall into crime. For a long time, Bayram suffered from that kind of prejudice.
I think I'm helping to improve the Roma reputation. My performance speaks for itself. Many Roma, especially from my neighborhood, tell me I'm the rose of the Roma.
It's now Bayram's turn to enter the arena. He's feeling quite tense. Shortly beforehand, he learned that his opponent is 2 years older than him and an experienced fighter. But Bayram soon gives him a run for his money. After 20 minutes, they take a short break. The fight goes into extra time. When they resume, things once again go back and forth for a number of minutes. But in the end, it's not enough. Bayram has lost. The 15-year-old is inconsolable. His family does their best to comfort him. We move away to give them some space, but meet up with Bayram a little while later.
There's nothing I can do. This time it wasn't meant to be. Now I need to focus on my brother. I hope he wins.
His brother just needs one more victory to win the cup. Bayram gives him a few final tips. Aydıncan is optimistic.
I'm well prepared and I'm going to be a champion.
But Aydıncan's opponent is good, and just like his brother, his fight goes into extra time. Then suddenly, Aydıncan begins celebrating. Is the fight over? The referee looks hesitant. No, Aydıncan has indeed won. Now there's no stopping him. His shyness has completely gone. 2 Roma brothers chasing one big dream, to fight their way to the very top of their sport.
This week, our global team comes from Fiji.
Bolovinaka, my name is Faith Randuva. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Viwa Tailevu in Fiji. My father is a pastor at our church, and my mom, she's the manager of communications and public relations in Nandi Airport. My sister is a climate activist, and when we are free, sometimes we go and check out the mangroves that we had planted, and we see the growth and the development that the mangrove has. And sometimes we find mangrove seedlings on the shore. So we pick them up and we go to the places where there's like small patches, and we start planting and start filling up the area with more mangroves. I have a younger sister, and I want her future to be much better than what we have now, because we are facing a lot of environmental problems, climate change, sea level rise, and what I want to see when my sister grows up, I want her to be happy in the environment that she is. Most of the time I play with my small sister. I help my parents and my elder sister with the house chores, and I play with my cousins sometimes. I play rugby or maybe volleyball.